space. So we work with everything from brands like the brands you guys have in your goodie bags to PTs and kind of everything in between. So the way today's kind of going to go is that I'm going to just spend a couple minutes, obviously introduce myself, tell you guys more about the business, and I'm going to give you like a top line kind of step-by-step outline in terms of, you know, if you guys are trying to build your own personal brands and get your business online and build a bit of an online presence, there's kind of a few steps to think about. But I'm not going to stand up here and just talk for the whole time, because digital marketing is such a broad topic that I could stand up here and talk for 3 hours, which I'm not going to, just to be clear, don't worry. But I could talk for the whole day and not even touch on something that's relevant to you guys, because there's so much to cover. So what I want to do is, I want most of what we talk about today to be led by you guys, and any questions you have, any issues you're facing, anything you're struggling with. So mostly to be led by your questions, to make sure I'm actually delivering value that's going to be actionable and something that you can walk away with and actually put into use. So I'll give a bit of an outline in the beginning. And if you think of any questions, like obviously hopefully you will come prepared with questions, that would be amazing. But if not, while I'm kind of going through the step by step, think about any questions you have. And then once I've finished that, I'm just going to open the floor to you guys. And as I said, I really want to be led by you and what you want to know and what areas you're most struggling with or whatever. So I guess with that, we'll kick off. So like I said, for the girls who just came in, my name is Jess. It's really nice to meet you. And basically, the reason why I'm here today is because you guys have had a pretty shit 2 years. It's been rough. I don't know how many of you guys already had online coaching businesses set up before COVID, but for a lot of you, maybe you didn't. And, you know, the pandemic was pretty shit. So I kind of just figured, look, you guys all had a really rough time. I'm also a PT. I don't work as one, but I have, and I'm qualified as one. And I know how tough it is, especially because the PT market is so, like, everyone is a PT now. So it is really hard when you're posting on Instagram or whatever to kind of stand out and be different. I get that. So I just thought it would be cool to come in, give you guys a bit of a help, because I think we're kind of past the shit now. 2022 is going to be a good year for you guys, and this is the time you need to be taking a step back, looking at your business and going, okay, how can I make it that I start from January next year with like an amazing kind of list of prospective clients and really make 2022 my comeback year. So with that in mind, we'll kick off. As I said, the Disruptors Agency is my business. I also had a bit of a shit time during the pandemic. So I was working for Wellfest. I was running their digital marketing. And unfortunately, obviously, the pandemic was not good for them either, so I lost my job. But it was kind of a nice thing in a way, because off the back of that, when I lost my job with them, I decided to launch my own digital marketing agency. I actually know way less people here. I know no one here, I don't think. I know loads of the lads that work in loads of the fly fits, and some of them actually used to work with me in my previous business. It was called Elite Brand Experience, and it was a marketing agency as well, but we just did samplings. So we would do samplings in fly fits, in all the gyms, in shops, and then at events like Body, well, we didn't go to Body Power, except we all went to like be at the party. But we did things, you know, like Irish Muscle Power and Wellfest and all those. So that was that. So basically the Disruptors Agency is the previous agency just reopened with a new name and a digital focus, because everything is happening online at the moment. So yeah. That is the crack. And then in terms of like what we do and what services we offer, we kind of do everything. So from brand design, so what that would be is like, you come to me, you don't have a brand yet, I'll give you like a logo, color scheme, fonts, all that kind of thing, tone of voice. We do website design, and we've done a few websites for some of the lads in the Fly Fit gyms too. We do social media management for kind of bigger brands. Content creation, so like you see we've got Stephen, our lovely videographer, down the back. We have a team of kind of photographers and videographers, and we do content creation as well. So you could do like a content creation day where you just get a bank of content, have it in a folder ready to kind of bang out over the next month. We do Facebook ad management and Google ads, and then we also do strategy and consulting. So that would kind of be, like, I have a team that work with me now, but the strategy and consulting stuff would be me sitting down with, normally it's bigger brands, but I can do it with anyone, where we sit down and go, okay, let's make a plan for the next year. How are we going to kind of build our presence, and what content are we going to put out there and stuff. So that's what we do. And in terms of you guys, like I say, when it comes to getting online and building an online presence, there is literally so much to it. So this will be our kind of step-by-step guide as to all the things that you need to think about. But like I said, I don't want to just talk about one thing and spend the whole time talking about it, because I have no idea where all you guys are at on your kind of digital marketing journey. So I'll briefly go through each of the steps, and then while I'm going through this, like I said, get your questions ready, because otherwise we're going to have a really, really short time here. Okay, so in terms of step one, when you're going to create an online presence, it's really important that you have a brand. So you guys are personal trainers, so your brand can be yourself. That's absolutely fine, and that's what loads of the FlyFit PTs do. That's loads of the biggest PTs in the world do. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. But your brand obviously also can't just be like your face. It has to kind of have like a brand look and feel. So you want to have like a color scheme. You probably want to have a logo. Your business name can be your name, that's fine, but you need to have a logo and a color scheme and that kind of thing, so that every single time you put out a piece of content, or you put out anything, like it could be, a business card, it could be a poster, it could be a YouTube video, it could be an Instagram post, but what you want is that when people see anything you've put out, you want them to know that it's yours without them having to see your face or without them having to read your name. They want to just instantly recognize that's your brand and you know it's them. So like with FlyFit, for example, you've got the really, really bright blue that's completely recognizable, and you kind of just instantly will recognize it straight away. So that's really, really important. When you're deciding what that looks like for you, it's important also to not think about, okay, what color would I like? So like for me, this is actually a really, really good example. During the first lockdown, I ended up starting an online coaching business, like fitness coaching. By accident, a friend of mine plays a lot of rugby and Gaelic, and he asked me for a program, and within like a couple of weeks I was doing programs for his whole team and all their girlfriends. And everyone I was working with, it was mostly not their girlfriends, it was mostly lads. It was mostly like lads in their 20s and 30s. That was my client base, athletic, fit lads, because that's who I enjoy training. And my branding, this was completely what you don't do. My branding for my online coaching business was all pink, because that's what I love. So what I'm trying to get at is, I've also seen this with a couple of PTs that I've worked with when I've been designing their websites and stuff, and they're lads in their 20s, but their main target client is going to be a woman in her 40s who's a little bit overweight, blah, 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 just Gen Pop client. So when I'm speaking to the lads and I'm building their website and I'm looking, like I'm making the whole thing super on brand, and it's like, yeah, it's going to be black and it's going to have like fire going up the sides of it and like it's going to be real slick. I'm like, okay, but Mary Jane down the road who's in her 40s and is a mother of 3 and wants to, she's not going to love the fire vibes. Like she wants to see something a little bit more tame. So what I'm trying to get at is, it's important that when you're designing your brand, obviously you need to like it because it's yours and it's going to represent you, but it also needs to appeal to the customer that you're trying to speak to. So basically, what you want to do is you want to create what we call a customer avatar. Okay, so I'll briefly flick on to the next slide and explain what that is. So a customer avatar is basically describing your target customer, but not like, okay, Gen Pop, female, in her 40s, 3 kids, wants to lose a bit of weight. So much more detailed than that. You want to give her a name, you want to know her exact age. Her name is Mary Jane, she is 42, she has 3 kids, she lives in Sallynoggin, this is her income, this is what car she drives, this is what she does on the weekends, she has a pet, Bernese Mountain Dog, everything about her you want to know. I want you to get a stock photo image and put a photo of her in the middle where you have the this little girl here, and I want you to literally know everything there is to know about this woman, or man, if your target customer is a man. And then all the stuff that you're going to put in the middle, so kind of like name, age, income, address matters. Where does she live? Like that speaks to the kind of demographic that she's in. And are you offering a premium service? Does she suit your offering or no? Marital status, because that speaks to how much disposable income she's going to have. So if she has kids and a mortgage and whatever, like she's not going to have a huge amount of disposable income. Also, she's not going to have a huge amount of free time. So if you're trying to sell her 7 sessions a week, she's not going to be able for that. So it's really important to know every single detail about your target customer. Have a picture of her in your head. I would put that picture, literally, I have with my clients that we work with, I have this like on my laptop, I have a big thing that takes up the whole screen, and when I'm working with these brands, I have the picture in front of me so I do not forget who I'm trying to speak to. And then in terms of these kind of boxes around the edge, these are kind of the more marketing-y things you want to know about them. So in terms of goals and values, like you guys will get that. What is her goal? So for Mary Jane, her goal is, she's got a wedding on New Year's Eve. She wants to lose a little bit of weight, but she also wants to do that while still having a social life, etc., etc. That's where her values come in. Her values include, like, she's really close to her family. She really cares about her friends. She doesn't want to give up her social life, but she still wants to reach this goal. Then in terms of challenges and pain points, what are her challenges? Probably that she is often in restaurants eating out. Maybe she likes to go for a drink. That's a bit of a challenge because she doesn't want to give that up. And then sources of information. This is where you're kind of getting into the strategy side of things. So where does Mary Jane get her information from? Like, is she on Instagram? Does she watch YouTube videos? Does she listen to the radio? Does she buy the newspaper? Because does she listen to podcasts? This is where you're going to decide what channels you're going to focus on when you're creating content, or when you're probably all you guys are on Instagram. But once you've nailed Instagram and you want to branch out and do something else, this is where you're going to go. Because you might be like, sick, I'm going to do a podcast. But maybe Mary Jane doesn't listen to podcasts, so then why are you doing that? You're wasting your time. So just focus your energy on where Mary Jane is getting, or whoever your customer is getting her information. And then objections and roles. This one is a little bit more complicated. Roles is basically talking about, in the purchase process, what is Mary Jane's role? So is she the decision maker? Is she the one who's actually going to transact? Or, for example, if one of you guys was doing a program where you're working with younger kids, so kids aged like 10, then, okay, you want to speak to the little kid. He's also a customer avatar because you want him to think you're really cool and you want him to want to work with you. But Mary Jane has also got a role in that purchase process because she's going to be the one putting her hand in her pocket and paying. So in those kind of situations, you might have more than one person who has a role in the purchasing process. Probably for most of you guys, it's just going to be your customer. So it's not really something you have to worry about. But what you do need to think about is objections. So why is she going to object to working with you? Like, what are the things? And this doesn't mean you can't have any of these things, but maybe you have a 3-month commitment thing. When you have, like, when she wants to sign up with you, you've got a 3-month commitment. Maybe she's going to object. Maybe she's going to be like, I don't really like that. Like, what if I don't like it? Doesn't matter, you can still have it, but just make a note of it, because you want to know if you're trying really hard and you're doing loads of marketing and you're not getting customers, look at your objections, pick one of those, try and remove it and see if that makes a difference. So it could be the 3-month commitment, it could be that your price is too high, it could be a load of different things. So just make a note of them and just be aware of them. It doesn't mean that you can't have them there, but just to know so that if you need to make a tweak, you can. So in terms of, just going back to the brand thing, that's kind of everything there is to it. You want to have a logo, you want to have brand colours, obviously you want to have a bit of a brand name. Some of you guys might just go with your own name. I know one example is Jay Farrell. He has like AF365 as his Instagram and his business name, and then he's his own person. The one thing I will say is, if you're going to use your own name and your own face and you are your brand, that is absolutely perfect, but just try to kind of then keep a bit of professionalism. Like, still post if you're out for a pint with the lads, that's fine. Put a picture of the pint to be like, I have balance, we're all normal people, you don't have to be so intense as me. But like, don't put up videos of you absolutely slashed, like, keep it a bit professional. So I think sometimes it is good to separate the two so that you can just be yourself on your own Instagram if you enjoy posting. But it's, as I say, there is no right or wrong, both can work. So that is brand. And then once you have your brand and you have your logo, your colours, you have your customer avatar and you know who you're speaking to, the next thing you want to do is, you should all have a website. So I don't know if all you guys have a website or if you don't, but in today's day and age, even if you're not going to use it to sell anything, you should still have a website, because if you don't, it just looks a little bit unprofessional. And it's kind of, firstly, it's a great way to get more clients. If you had a website, if you put in Google Ads, if you do Google Ads, for people who are looking for a PT, they're going to go to Google and they're going to put in Dublin personal trainer. So if you don't have a website, you're not going to show up there. So that's a loss. So it is important to have a website. Now, the first point that I have here, build it yourself if you can. You're probably all going to be like, obviously we fucking can't build our own websites. You actually can, and it's very, very easy, and I would really recommend giving it a shot. If you end up trying, and like if you just don't have a creative eye and it just looks a bit, okay, fine, then go get it done. But honestly, to build your own website is the best thing you can do, because it's very easy to do. It obviously won't cost you anything, and it means that you will be in complete control of your website, so that when you need to make a change on it, you want to like freshen it up, you want to add a product, you want to change something, you want to add a blog, whatever it is, you're in control, you know how the whole thing works. That's really, really important. So it is something I always say, and even, okay, if, as I say, you don't have an eye for design on your website that you try to make looks crap, you can get it built. But what we do is we build all of the websites for our clients. We build them on Squarespace, which is basically a platform that's really, really easy to manage. And when we finish building the website and we hand it over to the client at the end, we also give them a handbook with a step-by-step instruction as to, okay, if you want to change something on the homepage, this is how you do it. If you want to start a blog, this is how you do it. If you want to sell a product, this is how you add a product. And basically give them a step-by-step handbook, because if you are always waiting on a web developer to make these changes for you, firstly, you're at their mercy in terms of when they have free time to help you. So you could need something really urgently and they're not free to help you for 2 weeks, they're on holidays. Also, you're going to have to pay them every single time. Whereas if you can do these things yourself, it's going to save you a lot of money, and it's going to make you a lot more agile when you're kind of making changes to your website. So definitely I would recommend go onto Squarespace, give it a go. You'll see when you go, like, log on, give it a go, and I promise you'll be surprised at how easy it is to do. One tip I would give you all though, make sure when you're putting pictures up that they need to be high quality, not like from your phone. Maybe if you've like a really good iPhone, like one of the later ones, might get away with it. But I would really recommend a professional. Like, if you're saving all this money and building a website yourself, spend that money instead on a professional photographer and get professional shots, because it'll make or break your website. If your website has these photos that aren't high res and they look a bit fuzzy or whatever, that's gonna do your brand like the opposite of a favor. So that's really important. Also with your website, it's really important to make it super clear what you do and what your specialty is and who you are. With websites, I actually just yesterday did a website audit for a brand, and they have a new website, and I just wrote the same thing on every single page. My feedback was, you need to speak as if you're speaking to a 4-year-old, because I'm not being rude, I'm not being a dickhead, but consumers are stupid. So, like, including myself, we're all consumers. And when it comes to a new product that you've never seen before, like, it's easy for you as a PT, you live in this world, it's really easy for you to be like, yeah, we do this many sessions and we do macro tracking, blah, 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 blah. Someone's going to come on and be like, what's macro mean? Like, they're not going to know. So you have to remember that these people have probably never seen a personal trainer before. They don't know what you're talking about. So explain everything so clearly as if you're talking to a 4-year-old. In terms of blogs, I know this one will be like, you guys will be like, fuck that, we don't have time to write blogs. But it is really, really beneficial if you can set aside a bit of time, because firstly, it helps with your SEO, which I'll explain in a second what that is. And secondly, it helps you to kind of establish yourself as an authority on a subject. And when I say write a blog, it doesn't have to be written. You can do a video, so you can literally put your phone up, do a video, talk to the camera, talk about whatever you want to talk about, and then embed that in your blog post. When I'm saying embed, you're all going to be like, oh, don't know how to do that. It's easy. Honestly, when you go on Squarespace, you'll learn how easy all this is to do. So blogs are great for all of those reasons, and also to kind of grow your reach, because when you write a blog post, you can reach out to Avonmore Protein Milk and say, hey guys, I've written this blog post, I'd love to feature it on your website, or I'd love if you could share it, or whatever. And again, I'll explain SEO in a second, but if you can have other websites, or Wellfest for example, that have a link back to your website, that's going to really boost your presence on Google. So it's also obviously a great place to share your testimonials. When people come onto your website, you want to have like all your kind of whatever, transformation pics, testimonials, all that stuff on there, because it just helps people go, wow, like, it looks really good. And you can also use it as a sales tool. So like I said, you don't have to do that. If you are going to use it as a sales tool, you can get a bit of help. And what I mean by a sales tool is actually have it that prospective clients can transact on your website. So they can sign up to your program on your website. It just means that the whole thing is a lot faster. And it means you'll capture clients more easily. And if it's a case that, I know this has happened before, where we've had it that, hey, how are you? That's okay, you're very welcome. Pull up a chair. If it's a thing that you don't take on every new client that comes to you, do you know what? Allow them to buy the package from you, then speak to them, and if you don't think they're a fit, give them back their money, but get the money out of them first, and then you can give it back to them if you don't think they're going to be a fit. It's much easier than the other way around. So then in terms of, there's 2 terms here, UX and SEO. You guys might have heard before to do with websites, and you probably haven't a clue what they mean. UX is the user experience, Literally, it's nothing complicated. User experience of your website. So it means how easy is it for someone to navigate through your website when they come on. So that's all that means. It just, the most important thing with UX is only one thing you need to know. As few steps as possible in the path to purchase. So you want the person who's coming to your website, if it's going to be a website that they're going to purchase from, you want them to have to click as few times as possible. So ideally you have a big sign up now button in the middle, have like an autofill form, and just get them locked in straight away. And then SEO stands for search engine optimization, and what that means is on Google, it's basically to do with where your website comes in terms of the keywords. So basically, if someone puts in Dublin personal trainer in Google, where do you show up? Like, are you the first result, or are you not even on the first page? And that really matters, because if you're not in the top 3 results, most people, like 85% of people, don't scroll down. They just click on the first 3 or 5 without having to scroll. And nobody, I think it's 92% of people, do not click onto the second page of Google. I don't know the last time I clicked to the second page. So you want to make sure that your website is showing up as one of the top 3 results for loads of different what we call keywords. So like Dublin personal trainer Dublin, fat loss Dublin, all these kind of things. If you think about all the things that are relevant to you and what you do, you want to show up as one of the top results there. And there's loads of ways that you can improve SEO. If someone asks a question about it, we can go into it, but I'm not going to go through them all now. And then 2 things that are really important when if you build your own website, 2 things you need to remember to do from the beginning are to install Google Analytics and the Facebook Pixel. Basically, just really briefly to explain why, Google Analytics is really, really useful. It's a completely free tool, and there are free courses as well that will teach you how to use it. And it basically just tells you how much traffic your website is getting, who those people are, like are they men, are they women, what age are they, what country are they in. And it's really, really useful to be able to, like, once you start actually putting out content or running Facebook ads or whatever you're going to do, it's really useful to be able to see, okay, look, we had this many visitors last month, this month we had this many, so what I'm doing is obviously working, let's do more of that, or whatever. And then the Facebook Pixel is basically, you can't run Facebook ads without that installed on your website. So it's really important to have that installed, both for tracking the results of your Facebook ads and also being able to retarget people who have visited your website. So when you create a Facebook ad, you can go, I want to show this ad to people who have been on my website before. So you can't do that if you don't have the Pixel. Again, with Squarespace, installing both of these things is literally copy and paste it into a little box. Anyone can do it, so it's very, very easy. So that's your website. And then social media. So, okay, can I get a show of hands how many of you guys have an Instagram page for your business, even if it's your own? Okay, brilliant, most of you do. Awesome. So yeah, obviously social media is very important if you want to get your name out there and have more clients. It's a great place to build your reputation. So as we kind of touched on before with the customer avatar, the first thing you need to think about is, where does your target customer live? Because there are so many social media platforms right now. And a lot of small business owners get really kind of overwhelmed, being like, okay, I'm trying to post on Instagram, do LinkedIn, and I have to be on fucking TikTok as well, and I have to do a YouTube video, how do I even do that? So don't worry about it. Just focus on the one platform that you know your target customer spends a lot of time on. For most of you guys, it's going to be Instagram probably. And just focus on that and get really good at it. Learn how to kind of automate your content. I'll go into this as well in more detail. But once you've nailed Instagram and you have a really good process in place where you have like once a month you're doing a content day, creating content for the month, you're automating it every week, you know what you're doing, you're like, okay, I can probably stretch out and do something else now. Then you might go, okay, where else does Mary Jane spend her time? She listens to podcasts. Maybe it's my time to start a podcast. Or it could be TikTok, or it could be LinkedIn, or whatever it is. So don't get overwhelmed and don't try to do all of the platforms at once, because you won't do any of them well. Just focus on the one that you know is the most important. Focus on that, and when you're killing it there, then you can start reaching out into other platforms. You want to be posting consistently every day, if you can. Every day on the grid, if using Instagram as an example. Every day on the grid, and every day 4 times a day on stories, at least. And the reason being, I won't go into too much detail again unless someone asks about it, but with the Instagram algorithm, when you post on the grid, it's very likely that no one is going to see it. So in order to make sure that people are seeing your content and you're staying front of mind, you want to be posting on Instagram stories, because with posting on the grid, who sees that is determined by the algorithm, so that's going to be no one. But when you post on stories, who sees that is basically, they're shown in chronological order. So if you're posting on stories, your story automatically comes to the front of the line. You know the little circles on the top? You'll be at the front. So if you keep posting on stories all day, your brand is always going to be there front and center in front of people's faces. So even when you do post on the grid, share that post to your story. Now don't do the spammy, like, new post, hiding the picture, so people have to, like, that's just spammy and people don't like that. But do make sure you share those grid posts to your story and be like, check it out, read the caption, save it down if you think it was good, all this kind of stuff. And then make sure that you're just being really consistent with it. So try and get a post out every day on the grid and be as consistent as you can on stories. I also would absolutely challenge you all to get over the fear of talking on your stories, because for all of you guys, your faces when I said that, for all of you guys, you are your brand and you are your business. So if you can actually break that boundary and get talking on your story, it means you can build a relationship with people who aren't your clients yet, but they'll hear you talking and they'll see your face, and it's actually like an intimacy thing where, like, when you're talking like in a selfie, it's an intimacy thing. It's like there's this rule, it's called like the cocktail party rule, where people feel like they're that close to you and they actually can build a bit of trust and a bit of intimacy with you as if they were there in real life. So it is important, and I know you're all going to cringe when you do it the first time. I do too, but it's honestly it's a really beneficial thing to do if you can kind of break that nervous boundary. And then in terms of posting consistent, valuable content, a useful way to kind of like plan that out and make sure you're actually doing it in a useful way that's delivering value is to have a content calendar. It also just helps when you're just like, okay, I know what I'm posting for the week, so I don't need to like panic and just post something for the sake of it. So a content calendar is literally just a calendar. I'll actually send you guys a template, and I'll send you the kind of customer avatar stuff as well. So if you just DM the Disruptors Agency Instagram with your email address, whoever does, I'll just send you like the templates from all of this so you can use them yourselves. But basically a content calendar is just like a blank calendar, and you fill in what you're going to put out there every day. So the first thing I would do is have my content calendar template and go through like the calendar year and be like, okay, so when are important dates that I should talk, like Pancake Tuesday is obviously a great one. You could do a post about protein pancakes and kind of plan out those key dates, but then also plan out, okay, here's Black Friday, we're going to do an offer for that. Here's, maybe on a Monday we're going to do Monday motivation. Maybe on a Wednesday we're going to do a workout Wednesday where I'll share a workout. Maybe on Friday we'll do recipes. And just to have, it just makes it all a lot less overwhelming when you can look at a plan and be like, okay, I know what I'm posting for this week. So a content calendar is a really, really useful tool. The biggest thing that you need to do is to not sell. And I actually think personal trainers do a really good job of this, where when you're posting on Instagram or whatever, most of the personal trainers that I follow don't oversell. They're just there to help, and they're just there to post useful things. But it is really important. The brands, on the other hand, that I work with are devils for every post being like, here's our new product. Did you know that we have this in our product? Buy our product. But for you guys, for most of you, it will come naturally to just be out there delivering value. Like, you cannot give enough value. People will still come to you as clients. You can't give away too much stuff for free. So keep putting out really, really valuable content. And obviously, every once in a while, you can have that call to action of like, sign up now, or, we're doing a special offer. But if every post, and this is another one that not just PTs from 5Fit, but PTs in general are all, I don't know who started it, but everyone now copies it, is the, I'm looking for 5 ladies who want to tone up and lose, like, okay, that's fine if you do it like 2 times a year. Please don't do it every week, because it's just like, it's really salesy and you're going to turn people off. So that's kind of, not selling is really, really important. Staying on brand, obviously, like I said, develop your brand, your color scheme, everything. When people come to your Instagram grid, you want it to look some way pretty and some way on brand. Like that's the first thing people are going to see. So when they hear about you, they see you training in the gym, they're like, oh, I want to check this guy out, he looks good, maybe he'll be my PT. The first thing they're going to do is go check out your Instagram. So you want it to look nice when they get there, and the whole grid as a whole, you want it to look kind of pretty on brand. Definitely use video if you can. Also, don't just use video of you flexing your abs. Use video of you actually talking and showing your knowledge, because people aren't coming to you as clients for your abs. They're coming to you for your knowledge and to trust you and to gain what you know. So it's what's in your head that should be shown on the videos, not what's on your body. In terms of organic reach, it's really hard to get. So a few ways that you can grow your organic reach are to do collaborations. And Instagram actually has a new feature called collab feature, which basically means that me and Nocco could do a collab. We could do a post together. It could be me drinking Nocco, and I can post that as a collab with Nocco, which means it will show up on both of our grids, and all of the comments and likes and everything from both of our followers will be shown all together as one. So it makes your post look like they got a shitload of likes, but it also means it shows up on both your grids. So it's a really cool way to do kind of these collaborations. But the reason why collaborating with other brands or other people within the same space as you is really beneficial, it means that you get to speak to their audience who might not have heard of you before, and vice versa, they get to speak to yours. So you guys might link up with like a nutritionist or a yoga expert or whatever it may be, and do a collab in some way. So it could be an Instagram live, could be whatever. You might go on their podcast, you might let them publish a guest blog article on your website, whatever it is. It just is a free way to speak to more people that haven't met you before. So blogs or collaborations are one way. Also using Instagram's new features, so like Reels, is another way that you can actually get a lot more organic reach than you would with just a normal grid post. But they have to be good. So like if you just do a reel and it's shit, it's just going to be a flop. So in order to do a good one, what you want to do is, probably the easiest way to do it is find a trending sound. So if you guys are on TikTok or even with Reels, you'll know that there are like trending sounds. So like the songs that everyone has on their videos, and you see them coming up again and again. If you post a video with one of those sounds on it and you do your own little version of it, that's going to fly. It's going to do really, really well. So that's another way to kind of boost your organic reach. Like I said, sharing to your stories is another really good one, really, really simple. But it is difficult to beat the algorithm. It is hard for people to actually see your stuff organically. If you have a bit of cash to boost some posts or do some Facebook ads, I definitely would recommend it. But I know a lot of you guys might not have that budget yet, so there's loads of ways that you can do it organically. Really important to be yourself. Really important not to copy everything Phil Graham does. Really important to just think of your own, have your own personality and don't just copy what other people are posting about. And really important to communicate. So it's a two-way conversation. So when you put up a post, don't just put up the post and then forget about it. If people comment on your post, make sure you're there replying to them. As well, that's going to help with your organic reach, because with organic reach, another thing that helps to grow your organic reach and allow you to reach more people is if people are engaging with your content. So if you put up a post and no one engages with it, no one's going to see it, and the next time you post, you're fucked, because Instagram thinks, okay, this lad is putting up crap content, no one likes it, so we're not going to show it to anyone the next time. But if you put up something and it gets really good engagement, then loads of people are going to see your post next time, because Instagram's algorithm delivers your post to more people if it thinks it's good. So in terms of just that really quickly, the engagement that matters the most is actually saves. Okay, so you want people to be saving your posts. So when you're creating content, when you're planning your content calendar, you need to think about, what would I, as a consumer of Instagram, what posts would I save? So probably like a really funny meme, or maybe, a really inspirational quote that really hit you, or something like that. Maybe a recipe that you want to try, maybe a workout that you want to give it a go. So think about that, because the number one thing you want people to be doing with your posts is saving them. If they're not saving them, the next best thing would actually be that they're sharing them, so sharing them to their stories. So again, a really funny meme, maybe, well, they probably won't bother sharing a workout, to be honest, maybe an inspirational quote. One type of content that I always find with the brands that I work with, one piece of content that always does really, really well is tweetgrams. So when you post a tweet on your Instagram and it's just like one sentence, something really funny or really stupid or whatever it is, those always do really well for us as well. And then you see in the bottom here I've got, but back to the communicate thing, it's two ways. If people are commenting on your posts, don't ignore them. That's the worst thing you can do, because again, if people are, the third most important type of engagement that will help you with the algorithm is comments. But if you're not replying to those comments, that's going to damage you again, because Instagram will be like, well, cool, she's getting comments, but she's ignoring them all, so she's obviously not a great Instagram person, so we're not going to show her posts to people. So it's got to be two ways. If people are showing you love, you've got to show it back, otherwise you're going to lose them all. And then the last thing I've written here is the $80 strategy. So I don't know if any of you guys have heard of a guy called Gary Vaynerchuk. It's something that I learned from him that I implemented with a lot of the smaller brands that I used to work with in the beginning who had no budget for ads, and it worked like a dream. So basically what you want to do is you want to pick the top 10 hashtags or locations. So you know the way there's like location tags, like geotags on Instagram? So think of the top 10 locations or hashtags that are relevant to you guys. So for you guys, it could be locations such as whatever fly fit you work in, the 40 foot, wherever your target customer hangs out, those. And hashtags like, the key one is obviously Irish Fit Fam, but then any other kind of hashtags that you think are relevant to you and your business. You want to search those in your search feed, okay, the top 10 that you think are relevant to you. And for each one of those, I want you to go to the top 9 posts within that hashtag or within that location and just leave a comment. It's as simple as that. Or the most recent 9. Just leave a comment, but don't leave a like thumbs up or like a arm emoji. Like leave a comment that actually shows that you've consumed the content. Like if they're saying something, you know, join their conversation. If they're talking about like how they find fasted cardio so much better in the mornings, you can join in and be like, yeah, I actually love that as well. Have you ever tried drinking this electrolyte? You know, actually engage. Don't just leave emojis because then it won't work. But if you do that, those people, like you're speaking to so many people then, you're just reaching out, speaking to people, they'll engage back with you, they'll start following you. You don't know how many of those people are going to turn out to be clients. So if you don't have money for Facebook ads, this is a really, really valuable tool that not enough people are doing that actually really delivers a result. But you've got to do it consistently. So when you're on the jacks, when you're waiting for the microwave to ping, whatever, when you have a few spare seconds, get on, do a few hashtags, do a few locations, send a few comments. Don't be shy about it. Like, it's not weird. People will actually engage back with you. So it honestly really, really works. The fourth thing then is email marketing. So don't know if any of you guys are using email marketing yet. The biggest thing that a lot of people say to me when I recommend it is that they don't want to be spammy. And I get it, but I promise you're not. So obviously, like a lot of you guys are probably following the likes of James Smith, and obviously he does emails every single day. I'm not saying you should do an email every single day, because you're not James Smith. But definitely to do an email once a week, or at least once a month, is a really, really, really good way to keep in touch with people who are interested in your service. And honestly, I know this because when I started out in marketing, I didn't want to do emails either. I was like, no, I hate spammy emails. But when I started doing them, they were 50% of our conversions came from email. And the rest came from everywhere else, so like Facebook, Instagram, everything, all combined in one pile. And email was 50% all on its own. So it really, really, really works. And if people don't want to be spammed by you, they'll unsubscribe. And they were never going to be your clients anyway, so it doesn't matter. But it's a really, really valuable thing to start doing. You will see a lot of conversions coming from emails, and it's just a place to deliver value as well and really demonstrate your knowledge. So if you're not going to write a blog, which you all definitely should, an email is another place where you can kind of develop your name as an authority in the space and be like, today I'm going to talk about BCAAs. Are they worth it, yes or no? Go into that in an email. That's something that people will actually open and read because it's delivering value. So again, with the emails, don't be like, I'm looking for 5 women to something. Like, don't do that as an email. That's not going to do you any favors. But do be like, okay, here's today's topic. We're talking about pre-workouts. Which ones are the best ones to take? Which ones are crap? Whatever. Deliver value in your emails. And then once in a while, when you have a special offer or something like that, then you can use it to sell as well. I would definitely recommend if you're going to do emails, use MailChimp. And again, if you have a website, MailChimp integrates really easily into your website. So you can have like a sign-up form on the bottom of your website. And with all these things, just use the best one, like use the most popular one. So use Google Analytics, use Squarespace, use MailChimp. They're the best ones for a reason, and they're all really seamlessly integrated, so you can use them all together. So that would be my recommendation. Okay, this is a sales funnel. Not going to get too complicated about it, but you need to know how a sales funnel works if you're going to actively go out there and try and look for new clients. Okay, it's actually really simple. So in the top of the sales funnel, you've got awareness. What this means is reaching new people who have never heard about you before. So you're just trying to raise awareness about your brand, kind of speak to new people who've never heard of you before, and kind of get your name out there. So there are loads of ways you can do this. You're not going to like this, but the best way is Facebook ads. Honestly though, a Facebook ad for awareness to just reach new people is pretty cheap. So you could do that for like £100 a month. Like you could do it for really, really nothing. With Facebook ads, the one thing I'll say is there is no price. So people always come to me and say, how much is a Facebook ad? There is no price. It's whatever you have to spend. So you can spend as much or as little as you like, but with awareness, to just get your brand in front of a new person, it's going to cost you like 1 cent. So it's really nothing. So I wouldn't be afraid of it. But in terms of awareness, those are your options. You've got Facebook ads, you've got organic social media content, but like I said, you're not going to get that just by posting on Instagram. You have to be doing collaborations or, you know, reaching new people through other ways. When you do an Instagram post, maybe 8% of your followers will see it, and nobody who's not following you. So that's why just posting on Instagram isn't going to help you reach anybody new. So if that's all you're doing and that's your sales strategy, you're fucked. So you need to make sure that you're doing something. Facebook ads are a really, really, really good way to reach new people, probably the best way in my opinion. Or getting yourself out there, doing events, you know, going and doing collaborations, being on someone else's podcast, going and delivering a class in some corporate workplace, whatever it is. Consideration then is when someone has seen your brand, they've heard of you before, and now they're like learning a bit more about you. So they've seen maybe your ad, they've seen you on someone's podcast, but consideration is when they actually start to engage with you. So they're like, oh yeah, I saw him on Shane's podcast there, but then they kind of start to interact with your content. Maybe you put out a video that they watch, or maybe they start to follow you on Instagram. So consideration is when they start to actually consider you as someone they might want to do business with. So for consideration, basically what you want to do is speak to people who've already seen you. So if you still have money to do Facebook ads, you could do a retargeting ad where you show another new ad where you're kind of explaining a bit more about yourself and what you do, and you can show that ad to people who are following you on Instagram, following you on Facebook, or have been on your website in the last 360 days. So that's kind of that's what retargeting means. When we talk about retargeting, it's showing people an ad who have already engaged with your business in some way. So for consideration, that's probably a really good one. You could also use email in the consideration phase if you have managed to capture their email addresses, but probably at this stage you haven't. So, you know, another consideration option could be to run a Facebook ad, retargeting people who are following on Instagram, and what you want from this ad is that you want them to sign up to your email list. So then you've got your email, you can start sending emails to them in the future. Conversion doesn't really need to be explained. It's obviously when you actually get the purchase locked in. So that's when you get the first sale, you bring someone in, you get them as a client for the first time. Again, you can run Facebook ads that are designed to only be shown to people who will convert. The one thing I will say is don't freak out. If you charge, whatever, €120 for your program, your conversion can cost you up to 50% of that. Like, Facebook ads for purchases are pretty expensive, but it's a client that you wouldn't have had otherwise. So, you know, and the reason why you kind of need to not worry about that is the next step, which is the bottom of the funnel, which is LTV, which stands for lifetime value. So, okay, maybe you spent 60 quid to get this client on board, but how much are they worth to you over their lifetime? If they sign up to whatever your program is, and they sign up to another one, and they stay with you for 3 years, 60 quid compared to what they're going to spend with you in the long run, it isn't really that much. So that's kind of how a sales funnel works. And in terms of LTV, so conversion is when you're trying to get the purchase. So maybe that's through an email, being like, we have a special offer on, here it is, do you want to sign up? Maybe it's a Facebook ad for conversions, loads of different ways, but that's when you're asking them to get the sale. And then LTV is just making sure that once you get a client, you need to keep them. Facebook are constantly changing the interface, and it's very confusing. So if you're going to spend money on Facebook ads, I would definitely recommend getting a bit of help with them. If any of you guys have a specific question for me, I will go into more detail, but right now I'm not going to, because I think probably the most important thing is to focus on all the other stuff I talked about first. So having a brand, having a website, getting your social media up and running, and all that kind of stuff. So the last little thing that I'm just going to share is some software that I recommend you guys having, because it's really, really useful. Like, you guys can all be digital marketers. It's so easy. There's so much stuff out there that you can use. You can do everything yourself. So these are just some things that I think you should look at potentially kind of downloading or using. So this one up here is the Facebook Business Manager. So it's really useful for, like I said, that's where you need to run your Facebook ads from, but it's also got really good insights about your Facebook page and the interaction you're getting and everything like that. It's also where you can sell through. You can have, like, you know, when you see like an e-commerce, like a clothing brand, and has little product tags, you can only have that if you have this. So it's really important. Basically, if you're running a business and you're on Facebook, you want to have Business Manager. This is Facebook Creator Studio. So I didn't mention this yet, but when it comes to your social media, like, I would really recommend not posting on the fly. I would recommend setting aside 3 hours of your Sunday or your Monday or whatever it may be, and just schedule your posts for the week so that they go out automatically and you don't have to think about them again. Because think about it like on a Wednesday, you've done a spin class and you've done a body pump class and you've had 4 clients, now you need to go home and nap, then you need to train yourself, you need to eat your food, then you're back in on shift in the evening. When the fuck are you going to do an Instagram post? And when you do it, it's half-assed because you're like, fuck, I need to get something up, so you just bang up any old thing and it's not very valuable. Whereas if you sit down for 3 hours on Monday, look at your content calendar, go, what am I putting out this week? What do I want to talk about? And you go, hey, look, on Monday I'm going to talk about this. Tuesday, like a little bit of a follow-on could be this. Wednesday I post my workout, whatever. You're just going to do it in a much more structured and valuable way. And also, you won't miss any days and you're sorted for the week. You don't need to think about it again. So Facebook Creator Studio is the tool that I use for all my clients. It's the best tool in my opinion, and it's completely free. It's within Facebook. So most of you guys, if you have an Instagram, a business Instagram, you should also have a business Facebook page. They're connected, and you go into your business Facebook page, into publishing tools, scroll down to Creator Studio, and that's where you want to go. And just schedule your posts for the week and they'll go out automatically and they'll be good to go. So that's a really, really good tool. I recommend everyone trying to have a bit of a play with that and see how you get on. This thing here, Unnum, I don't really know how to say it, but you might not need to think about this one. This is just if you're really particular and you really like branding and you want to have a really nice Instagram grid that's on brand and looks really slick. So this is a free tool as well, and basically what it allows you to do is to kind of play with your Instagram posts. So it will sync in your Instagram feed and show your Instagram feed as it currently stands, and you can put in all your new posts, and then you can swirl them around and be like, oh, I'm going to put this one in on Tuesday because it looks better over here, and make sure you have a really nice layout to your feed. So if you wanted to, for example, have like that you had a motivation post that was just like with the Disruptors Instagram, if any of you guys have seen it, ours is very much kind of like laid out in a certain way that the squares are pink and then there's a photo, and then they're pink and then there's a photo. The way we can do that is by laying them out in here, seeing what looks good. Again, for you guys, it's not super important because this is mostly for the bigger brands that we work with that matters. Has to look so slick, but it is a really nice thing to do if you can, and it's a free tool as well. Then MailChimp is what I would recommend you guys all use for your email marketing because it's so easy to use and you'll be able to make your emails look really professional and really, really good. And it doesn't require any like knowledge of design or anything. It's just like a jigsaw puzzle. You just drag and drop bits into it. So that's really good. Then this little triangle up here is Google Ads. I think for you guys, even if you're not going to do Facebook ads, Google Ads are probably even more useful for you. Maybe not, maybe they're kind of equal, but if you think about it, if you are a service provider in an area, people are going to come and look for you on Google. They're not going to come looking for you on Instagram. Like, you don't go into Instagram and type in personal trainer Dublin. You go into Google and type that. So with Google Ads, basically you only pay for a Google ad if someone clicks on it. So if your Google ad is sitting there and no one clicks on it, it's costing you zero. So it literally costs you nothing to have it there. You'll only pay for it when someone clicks. And because there's such high intent with Google Ads, the only people who are going to see that ad are people who have physically typed your business name or your service name into Google. So you know they're looking for you. You know they're looking for a PT. You want to make sure that you show up there. The other thing is there are so many personal trainers in Dublin that the likelihood of you showing up in the top 3 results on Google is zero, sorry to say, unless you have an ad up there. So Google Ads are really, really valuable. Like I say, you don't pay to have them there. You only pay if someone clicks on them. So, you know, after they click, if they don't purchase your product, it's either because your website doesn't look good enough or your offer isn't good enough. But they are a really valuable thing to have. Then Photoshop and Lightroom, you guys might already have those. They're just, you know, when it comes to posting photos, you do pay for these tools, but they're really useful because, to be honest, when you're posting photos, like, your photos are going to get a lot more engagement if they look good and if they look professional. So I'm not saying Photoshop yourself a nice skinny waist or, you know, washboard abs. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, to be honest, it's mostly Lightroom I recommend you guys using. It's an easier one to use, and it's just like brightening up a photo that looks a bit dark, especially in the gyms. If you're taking pictures or whatever in the gyms, a lot of them can be quite dark. So it's just a really good way to make sure your photos actually look pretty. Because if your photos don't look pretty, people are not going to engage, damages your algorithm, the whole chain starts off. So that's those two. This is Squarespace, so this is what I was recommending you guys use to build your website. It's exactly like MailChimp in that it's literally just a jigsaw puzzle. You drag and drop the bits you want to have in there, put up some pictures, write a few bits. It's so easy to use. And I think it probably costs me like 20 quid a month to have. So it's not that much. As long as you've got a client that pays more than 20 quid a month, you're covering your costs. And then Google Analytics, like I said, once you build a website, make sure you have that installed, because then you can keep an eye on all the traffic coming to your website. You can also keep an eye on your revenue, and it'll just track your revenue over time so that you can look at the statistics and the reports and be like, okay, this month was really good compared to this month last year, we're actually up 50%, that's brilliant, all this kind of stuff. You need to know these kind of things, otherwise, you're not going in any direction with your business, you're just kind of flailing around the place. Then if you have a YouTube channel, and depending on who your target customer is, for some of you guys, it would be a great idea to have a YouTube channel as well, because YouTube is not a social media platform, it's actually a search engine. So when you put up a video on YouTube, it's there forever, and someone types in, biceps in 10 minutes workout, your video is going to come up. That's not the same on Instagram. When you post a video on Instagram, it disappears once it moves down the feed. No one's ever going to see it again. Whereas on YouTube, your content will stay alive forever. So it is a really good platform to be on. And if you're going to have YouTube, you're going to do YouTube videos, if any of you guys have like a MacBook, iMovie comes free with it. It's a really handy tool. To be honest, when I was working with Wellfest, Stephen's going to kill me for saying this, but I actually think iMovie's grand. When I was working with Wellfest, I edited all of their videos on iMovie and it was fine. If you have a bit of money to spend, Final Cut Pro is obviously brilliant, and it's what most people would recommend. So that's really only necessary if you're going to do YouTube. Probably otherwise you don't need either of those. And then Canva, I'm sure most of you guys already know about Canva. It's going to be your best friend. This presentation was made on Canva. It's also my best friend. It's a really, really good tool because obviously you can create all of your graphics for all of your social media. You can do Instagram stories, Instagram posts, YouTube thumbnails, Spotify album covers, anything you need. You can do it yourself on here, and you can have your brand toolkit in Canva ready to go so that your logo is there ready to be uploaded, your colors are there, so when you're making a post you can just click on your brand colors and everything is perfectly on brand. So Canva is, honestly, if any of you don't have it, just get it right now because you're really missing out. So those are kind of bits of software that I would recommend that can allow you to have a lot of freedom and flexibility to do your own digital marketing. And with all of that, I'm going to open the floor now for you guys, because for the rest, how long have I even been talking? For the rest of the time that we have here, I would like it to be completely led by anything in particular that you guys are struggling with, or any questions you may have. So don't be shy. Anyone have any questions about anything?
So to run a Facebook ad, would you need a Facebook, or can you run an ad through Facebook instead of having your Instagram set up through it?
Yeah. So when you're in a Facebook, that's a really good question, and it's actually one of the questions I get most often. When you run a Facebook ad, that is not just being shown on Facebook. That's being shown on Facebook, Instagram, and the Facebook Audience Network, which is a whole network of websites and apps that Facebook have bought into. So, people could be scrolling through an app on their phone, and the next thing they see your ad because it's part of the Facebook network. So, but what you do need to do is you need to have your Instagram set up as for you guys, honestly, I would set it up as a creator page. So when you go to change from a personal page, you'll see that you can have a personal page, a creator page, or a business page. The thing about a business page is that you don't get the cool music for stories and reels. So when you're a business page, because of copyright issues, businesses aren't allowed to use that music. So if you want to have like Kanye West in the background of your stories, you can't do that if you're a business account. You need to be set up as a creator account. And they both have the same functionality in terms of like running ads or whatever else, seeing all the insights. But the creator page will mean that you actually can still use the cool music and make your videos look better. But then you need to link your Instagram page to your business page on Facebook. You do have to have a Facebook, like a personal Facebook, in order to make a business page. My personal Facebook I only made it to get a business page for my business. So you don't have to do anything with your personal Facebook page. But you do have to have a business page just to link them, because that's how all the payments and everything are all linked through Facebook. And when you set up an ad, when you're actually creating the ad, you can decide. So when you create a Facebook ad, it will automatically be shown in all of the placements. So Instagram, Facebook, and the Audience Network. But if you want, you can just untick the boxes and say, I only want this ad to be shown on Instagram. And it'll do that. So that was a really good question, and it is true that Facebook ads are not just shown on Facebook. So many times people will be like to me, I don't want to run Facebook ads, no one's on that anymore. But yeah, so it goes on all of those. So really good question.
And then for a Facebook ad, would you make it salesy or maybe write a blog for a Facebook ad and then make it
So
to your account?
really good question again. So basically this comes down to your funnel. And when it comes to, it depends what part of the funnel you're trying to target. So if you're looking for sales, you need to have something salesy in there. So, I wouldn't put up a Facebook ad that's just you talking and delivering value and not saying anything about buy my product now. You need to have a call to action if you want someone to purchase. So it could be just a video of you talking about, how many people you've helped, or even better, like the perfect Facebook ad for converting new clients would be a video testimonial of one of your clients talking about how nice you are and how much you've helped them. And then have like a call to action, so it'll be a button saying sign up now or learn more or whatever you want, and that will take them through to a landing page where they can either book in a call with you or they can purchase your service straight away. But if it's a Facebook ad where you're just trying to get more people to know about you, in that case I would just have a video of maybe of your client again, like this is your guys' best asset when it comes to selling your service, is your clients. Not even just before and after photos, but like testimonials.
Yeah.
Whether it's a written one or a video, they're the best things you can use for
Because
sure.
a lot of them won't jump on the video.
No, they
So-
won't.
so
They'll be
like,
too shy.
Getting a review is hard enough. Well, views are alright as well,
Yeah.
but like a lot of them.
No, the video thing, they'll all be too embarrassed.
Yeah.
But if you can, like some of you guys might have like girls who are like 23 and they're like, yeah, I'll do a video for you, and they'll be delighted to be on your ad. But if you don't, that's grand. You can just use like, what might look really nice is like a photo of you with an overlay, so like kind of, like a black overlay, so it's like a little bit kind of black and white, and then the text over that, which is just like a testimonial of one of your clients. And even for an awareness campaign, that's probably the best thing that's going to make people take interest in you. That, or you on camera talking, delivering value, because that way people see who you are and they hear like, oh god, he knows his shit. Okay, cool, he sounds good. So those are kind of the two things I would do for that.
So basically, that's the main thing, and that's your reach then, that's the honey pot really then. By getting your Facebook ad, then they come and go right.
Yeah, pretty much. If you want to reach new people, it's the fastest and easiest way to do it. Just, it's not free. So that's
When you're
it.
setting on that, I always find the hardest thing to try and set is like parameters of where you're searching, where it's going. So someone will ask you, people like your followers, or you want to actually pick an area and interests.
Mhm.
I'm always trying different parameters to see what gets the best one.
Yeah, so that's a really interesting one, and this is probably a little bit technical, but basically when you're running a Facebook ad, you've got an ad, so you've got a campaign. Within that campaign, it's broken into ad sets, okay? So this could be, you're saying, okay, for this campaign, I'm going to spend 100 quid. I'm going to split this campaign into two, and for one, they're called ad sets, I'm going to speak to just people who already know me. So, people who are following me on Instagram, people who are following my Facebook page, and people who have been on my website in the last 3 months. And that would be called a warm audience, because they're people who are already interacting with your business. That would be one ad set. And then the other ad set would be a more broad audience, and maybe you're targeting people who live in South Dublin and are interested in weight loss, fat loss. Like, think about if you were a 45-year-old woman and you were not happy with your body and you wanted to lose weight. What kind of things you'd probably be looking at Slimming World. You'd probably be looking at, all these kind of like skinny teas and all this kind of stuff. So to target people who are looking at those things, because that's what a woman in her 40s who's looking to get skinnier is looking at. You know what I mean? So it is a case that when you are creating a Facebook ad and you start putting in these kind of like interests or parameters, there's so much you can do with Facebook ads. You can target, as I say, people who are already interacting with your business. You can make a lookalike audience, which will target people who are similar to the people who are already following you. So there'll be people who aren't following you yet, but they have the same kind of demographic, same interests as the people who are following you. Really, really valuable. Or you can just target people who live in Dublin, who like the gym, who like CrossFit, who like lifting weights, who like whatever it is that your specialty is. So there is no one right answer as to what the right thing is to target. You kind of need to always do more than one, like set up more than one audience and run the ads beside each other and then see which one is getting you the better results. And you'll be surprised, sometimes they'll like, if you do a warm audience, those results will normally be cheaper. So you'll get like, it'll be a cheaper cost per result, but you might get the same amount of results from a really broad audience. They'll just cost you a little bit more. So yeah, it's the thing with Facebook ads, and like if you guys start doing them, don't get down on yourself in the beginning when you're like, fuck, this isn't working. They're all about trial and error. And so is everything with digital marketing. Like when you go and put out a video and no one likes it, don't be like, oh shit, it didn't work, like, no, I'm gonna stop now, it's embarrassing. Don't, like you have to just keep going, and then something will eventually click. You're gonna be embarrassed, you're gonna look like a tit, it doesn't matter. You need to just not stop, because if you stop, you're done. But if you keep going, eventually something will click, and then you'll know, okay, this is what people like, and you can start doing more of that. So it's all trial and error.
Just on that then, so I get the list. In terms of setting those parameters again, you have an option where you set your budget, say €100, €10 over 10 days,
Yeah.
€20 over 5 days. Is there one way it's better to do it, better have more per day? Or
So yeah, really good question, and again, pretty technical. And there is no right answer to this again. My personal preference is to set up a lifetime budget, because basically when you create a Facebook ad, the first 7 days of your ad are called the learning phase. And within those 7 days, Facebook doesn't really know what it's doing yet. It's trying to figure it out. It's trying to figure out who likes your ads, who's engaging with your ads, which, if you've put up more than one creative, so when you're making an ad, you can put up like 2 videos and a picture, and then Facebook will just show them all and then see which one is getting the best results. So within the first 7 days of your ad running, Facebook is in the learning phase, where your results are costing you a lot more money because it hasn't kind of balanced out yet. It hasn't like gotten into the groove. But it is kind of like within those first 7 days, it's still trying to figure it out. So one of the most important things I'll say as well is try to run your ad for more than 7 days if you can. I would go for a lifetime budget, because in those first 7 days, Facebook needs to spend more money because its results are going to be more expensive, but it needs to get 50 results to get out of the learning phase. So if your results are like, I want people to click through to a landing page, it needs 50 people to click through the landing page to get out of the learning phase in order to stabilize and for your results to become cheaper and for your ad to start performing well. So for me, a lifetime budget is the way to go. Also, someone from Facebook has recommended that to me, but currently someone from Facebook I'm working with at the moment has said they prefer daily budgets, because then you have more control over how much is spent every day. So that comes down to personal preference. If you're cool with putting a lifetime budget, in my opinion, that allows Facebook to spend your money more efficiently. But if you want to have control over how much is going out each day, then do a daily budget, and it will still do a good job.
Does it learn from ad to ad?
Yeah.
Do 7 days every time you get out of that learning phase, or after you
Yeah,
do that?
every ad has to have 7 days of a learning phase, yeah. So it's a bit shit. But normally you'd be running ads like probably for a month. And so in that sense, if you're running an ad for a month, it's a lot better. But it just comes down to your budget. And like, if you don't have a lot of budget and you want to just play with, getting more reach for your posts, you can just boost posts on Instagram. It's not going to be very efficient. You can't drive real results with that, but you will get your posts in front of more people and you will get more likes as long as your content is good. So that's another thing. Don't just go boosting loads of posts. Like, only boost a post if it's already getting good engagement organically. Because if it's not a good post, Instagram will still spend your 10 quid to show it to more people, but you're not going to get any more engagements because people don't think it's good. So you'll still spend €10, but you won't get anything back out of it. And it won't drive the sales and stuff like that. So yeah.
In regards to a blog, whereabouts would you post that then?
So on your website, you should have a blog. It'll be a section of your website, and like, it is so hard. I even am crap. I haven't even put my blog section on the Disruptors website live yet, because it's writing a blog. You need to do it properly. Like, if you're going to do it, it needs to be long. It needs to be more than 250 words.
Could you include that then with your, like, let's say, monthly email?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I would do is I would do a blog post as often as I could. You can do one every week, amazing, but you probably won't have time. Try do one every month. And then when you do a blog post on your website, put it up on the website, announce to everyone on your Instagram, I've just put up a blog post, to get them to click through. Obviously, you all can now do, even if you don't have 10,000 followers, you can all do link stickers on your stories. So put up a story being like, I've just put up a new blog post about intermittent fasting. and put a link sticker to the blog post to get people clicking through. Then I would also, in your monthly email, be like, so here's what happened at Jessica Nolan Fitness this month. We shared this blog post, here's a link to it here. Our client of the month was Sandra. Here's her little testimonial. Here's what she did this month. She got a 50 kilo deadlift, whatever. And just have like in your email, it doesn't need to be one big long thing. It can be little like news snippets of different things that have happened this month for you guys. But the blog posts are really important for, as I say, SEO, and also for being able to kind of collaborate with other websites and get backlinks and stuff like that. So really, really valuable to have.
So to really structure up then something online, you'd need the website, MailChimp, and then Facebook ads.
Yeah, and your organic social, so your
obviously
Instagram.
then the Instagram to link that up then, make it
Yeah.
stronger.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, anyone else have any questions? Have any of you guys tried it, Facebook ads before?
No. Yeah.
You have? And how did you find it? Did you get a
Very
result?
good.
Oh, brilliant. Amazing. Okay, cool. And do any of you guys do email marketing? No. Okay, start it. It's not spammy, I promise. Okay, cool. Well, yeah, look, that's kind of the main things that you would need. Definitely, obviously, you all need to have your social media, but like I say, don't stress about trying to get on TikTok if you're not there yet. Just focus on whatever channel is working for you. If you want to grow your reach, you need to not just post on your Instagram every day. It's not going to grow at all. Your business won't grow. So you need to find other ways to reach new people. Facebook ads are going to be your best way to do that. But if you don't have the money, try the $1.80 strategy on Instagram. Try collaborating with other people that are in the space. And then, yeah, just like even, get yourself out there, reach out to some corporates. Nothing wrong with cold emailing some corporates and saying, do you want any classes taught or anything like that? And that's actually a way that before I've done that, I've gone into corporates, taught a class. There's 50 people in the class that then contact me being like, where do you work out of? How can we work with you one-to-one? So that's another reason.
Do something like that as well, go around and obviously it's different now, but like in around offices and say how like the best, whatever, like talk about nutrition or fitness or anything like that.
Yeah.
Have it then during one of the
I know
seminars
those
or
people as
something
well
like
that have done that, yeah. So Kev Johnson, he's now left. He was working out of Stillorgan, but when he previously used to work in Raw in Sandyford, that was one of their biggest sales strategies, was getting into corporates and doing nutrition talks. So it really, really helps. It's like corporates are, if you think about it, okay, when you're trying to get into a corporate to do a fitness class or a talk or whatever it is, think that's one sale. But for you, that one sale could be worth 5 clients. Whereas if you're just selling to a client, that one sale is worth 1 client. So speaking to the kind of bigger groups like the corporates or wherever else you can think of where there's loads of potential clients is really good, and you also look good because you can be like, I was in Salesforce today doing a nutrition thing. You look so good if you do that. And if you get a lovely videographer to come along and create the content from the day, then there you go, that's a YouTube video. So one final thing just on that I will talk about is when you're creating content, again, I know you guys more than anyone else in the world are so strapped for time. So creating content can be a bit of a pain and it can be hard to find the time. So a couple of things that I will say. When I was doing online coaching, the easiest way to create content, now if you're not doing online coaching this won't really be applicable, but for me I was giving all my clients feedback via video. So they would send me videos of themselves doing the workouts and then I would send them video feedback being like, okay, when you're doing your RDLs, make sure to keep your shoulders back like this and blah blah blah. I would send that to the client, but then I would also post it on my Instagram. Like that's just content, like that's just me doing my job coaching, but I can put that on my Instagram too and then everyone gets to learn. Because everyone, I'm sure you guys all know, all your clients make the same mistakes. Like everyone rounds their back in a deadlift. Everyone makes the same mistakes all the time. So the feedback you're giving to your clients is going to be really valuable to also your followers. So that's really valuable. And then also if you are creating content, so for example, Stephen is here today, he's filming this whole talk for me. I'm then going to put that on my YouTube channel. It's going to be a YouTube video. But a really efficient way to then create content is to create a piece of pillar content, the YouTube video, and then create from that piece of pillar content pieces of splinter content. So I'm going to take 30-second snippets out of this YouTube video and post them on my Instagram. I'm going to strip the audio and turn it into a podcast. I'm going to type it out word for word and make that into a blog post. So if you think about it, this one piece of pillar content that I'm creating with this video here today with you guys is going to keep me going for months because I'm getting so many different bits out of it. And then one of you guys asked me a question, that's going to be a 30-second Instagram video. So that's a really efficient way to do it. Just set aside a day, create a piece of pillar content. Maybe it's a YouTube video where you sit down with your phone, talk about the importance of macronutrients, and then put that on your YouTube, then strip out 30-second clips from it, put those on your Instagram, strip out the audio, now you have a podcast, good for you, and then transcribe it, turn it into a blog post. So that's kind of a really good way to get loads of bulk content done in one quick go.
Is there any apps that you would use for automated planning the posts, let's say,
For scheduling your posts? Yeah, so Facebook Creator Studio. Now, the one thing I will say is, so it's free, it's in Facebook, it's linked up to your Facebook page and Instagram page, and it's really, really good. It doesn't do anything else apart from Facebook and Instagram. So if you're trying to post on LinkedIn, there's a couple of tools you can use. For me, I use one called SEMrush, and it's a great tool because it like does kind of website audits and loads of different things, but it's really expensive. So if you don't own an agency like me, I wouldn't recommend it. But there's loads of tools you can use like Hootsuite, Buffer, Later, and they're all really good. They all include LinkedIn, but you do pay money for all of them. So for me, Facebook Creator Studio is the best. Now, you can't schedule stories on that, but that's better because the reason why people consume stories way more than feed content now. So if you think about yourself, when you go into Instagram, first thing you do is click on stories and flick through and watch everyone's stories. You probably don't really scroll down through people's grid posts unless you've already seen all the stories you want to see, you're still on the bus or whatever it is and you have a bit more time. But most people just watch the stories. So, and the reason why people love the stories so much is because they're in the moment. So they're not edited, they're not filtered, and people are just nosy, so they want to see what you're getting up to during the day. Do you know, like, that's why people love them. So for stories, you're better off not scheduling them. They're better off being just completely authentic and in the moment. So yeah, so for me it's Facebook Creator Studio. It's this one here. And yeah, it's within Facebook. If you struggle finding it, because it can be a little bit confusing, and there is, like with the Facebook ads, when I was like, this is not Ads Manager, there is another weird, not the right one of these two. So yeah, if any of you guys have any issues like trying to implement anything that I've shared today, don't be shy about sending me a message on the Instagram page. But yeah, so that would be my preference is that one.
Would that have like an analytic section to it?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So Creator Studio has all the insights. Yeah, so like the thing is, when it comes to Facebook ads, Ads Manager is your best place to see the insights because it will literally show you how many impressions you got, how much reach you got, how many conversions you got, how many landing page views, the cost per result, every little detail will be in there. So for ads, you want to use Ads Manager for the analytics, but for your Facebook and Instagram organic posts, inside Creator Studio they have the insights as well. And also on your phone, on the Instagram app, once you have it set up as a business profile or a creator profile, you just literally click this little thing at the top of your profile and it will tell you, like it'll have all these little graphs being like, these were your best performing posts and this is how many followers you gained this week and this is how many you lost. And that's another really important thing to kind of flag as well for you guys, is that you should be looking at that. Every week when you go to create content for the week, you shouldn't just go, what do I want to talk about this week? You should go, okay, out of what I posted last week, what did well and what didn't? Okay, my workout actually completely flopped. People didn't like seeing that, but that recipe post that I did really, really well. So I'll definitely do another recipe post this week. If you just go on every week and you're like, all right, this week I'm going to talk about how to get jacked and how to grow your triceps. Like, you don't know that's going to perform well. You need to look at what has done well for you in the past and then create your new content based off that. Because like I said, with everything else, otherwise you don't really have direction and you're not going to grow. You're just going to keep spinning the wheels and getting the same results you're already getting. So you do need to put a bit of thought into your content. Don't just bang it out for the sake of it.
Can you schedule reels on YouTube?
Yeah, Reels you can, and IGTVs you can. Actually, I think you can do Reels. You can definitely do IGTVs.
Yeah, because I've been using them, but I couldn't find Reels.
Maybe Reels isn't up yet. IGTVs, yeah, no, Reels actually isn't now that you say it. But it will definitely be up. Like I'm saying, Facebook changed that interface every day. So it definitely will be coming soon. And
So
actually,
there's nothing to schedule reels.
Potentially one of the other apps, like I mentioned, Hootsuite and Buffer and Later and stuff. Personally, I don't know because I don't use any of them. But if you want to, just literally Google schedule reels and it'll show you results. You just have to pay for those ones. So I think that's probably better. But also, if you are interested in probably none of you are, but in digital marketing or Instagram marketing, the guy who runs Instagram, his name is on Instagram, his handle is Mosseri, it's Mosseri, and he's the dude that runs Instagram, but his Instagram profile is really interesting to follow because he's really transparent. He comes on every day and talks to the camera, and this is how you guys should be sharing your content, by the way. He comes on every day, talks to the camera, and is like, here's what's happening on Instagram today. Today we're launching the new link sticker for everyone, and it's just a really cool way to kind of keep up to date with what Instagram is launching, because again, when it comes to posting on Instagram, you need to be using their new features because that's what's going to get you the best organic engagement. So do try to stay on top of that if you can. I know it's a lot, and I know you're on the gym floor for 99% of your day, so it's not easy, but yeah. Any more questions?
What's your man's name? Mosseri, is it?
Yeah. I don't know what his actual name is, but that's his Instagram handle. It's Moss, E-R-I.
In terms of saving for a website and design something on Squarespace, for a PT, what's the best layout for a page? Would just be one single page, get some testimonials and a contact form?
What I would recommend is, again, if you're going to make a website, you don't want to just make it for the sake of it. You want it to show up on Google. And in order for it to do that, you need to have good SEO. So in order to have good SEO, you do need to have multiple pages and you need to have a lot of words on your website. And those words need to be personal trainer, fat loss, weight loss, whatever. How I would lay it out is that on your home page, I would have a lovely picture, whatever, that will resonate with your target audience. So if you're speaking to 45-year-old women in the gym, have a picture of a 45-year-old woman who's not in great shape, maybe. Don't put up a picture of you with your top off and your fucking ripped body because that's just going to scare her away. Have a picture that's going to, make your target customer go, oh, that looks like me. Maybe I could get involved with this trainer. And I would have that as kind of the first thing people see. It's just a nice image and one line that just in a line summarizes you and your service and what you do. Then when you scroll down, I would have kind of elaborate on that a little bit, so have a little blurb about what you do, where you work out of, what kind of clients you work with, and what your specialty is. Then underneath that, I would have client testimonials. So if you want to have pictures, great. If you just want to have a little quote, paragraph, that's great too. And have those kind of on your homepage as well. I would have those on multiple pages of your site because they're so valuable to you that if someone comes onto your website and clicks straight into the About Us page, they want to see the testimonials, so have the testimonials again on that page. So that's kind of what I would do, testimonials, and then, you can have a newsletter sign-up form or whatever. You can also have a pop-up that comes up for newsletter sign-ups. Those are kind of like Marmite. Some people hate them, some people find them really annoying. If you're going to have one, just have one. Don't have loads being okay, sign up to my latest offer, okay, sign up to my website, okay, blah, blah, blah. Just have one. But that would be your home page, but then I would also have an About Us page where it literally is a picture of you, big smiley happy head on you, and talking about your why. Why did you get into personal training? Why is it your passion? What do you love about it? How did you get started? What is your background? And have an About Us page that tells that whole story because that's going to make people be like, oh, he seems so nice, I want to work with him or her. Have an About Us page. Have a separate page again for testimonials, and maybe you can expand on those a little bit and have them a little bit longer on that page. So on the home page you just have literally one sentence from each testimonial, but then you have a page where you have the full ones, and you have, I know James Smith had this on his website before and it was really impressive looking, where it was all the pictures. You might not have before and after pictures, so if you don't, that's fine, work with what you have. But yeah, so I have home page, About Us page, testimonials page, and I would also have maybe a page, if you have more than one package or service, maybe a page outlining all your different services, maybe you've got one-to-one PT and also online coaching and also nutrition only or whatever. And then I would also have a blog. It's really important to not just have one page on your website and that's it. Definitely have as many pages as you can and have a blog if you can, because if you think about it, with a blog, it's your opportunity to talk about loads of stuff. So you might just be, if you have one page, you're just ranking for keywords like personal trainer, fitness, cardio, weight loss, whatever. But if you have a blog, you can start talking about training during your menstrual cycle. You then start to rank for those keywords in Google. People will think, okay, like if people look training for your menstrual cycle, they might come up across your blog post that talks about that. Then they might send you a DM on Instagram and be like, hey, I saw your blog post, I'm just wondering, I'm struggling with this. Start a conversation, build a bit of a trust, then they're your client in 2-3 months' time. So blog posts are also really, really important. And I know you guys probably all don't love writing blogs, you don't have time to write blogs, but like I say, you know, one thing that I think PTs are all very good at, because they are fitness people, they're very good at discipline. And this is just discipline. You just need to discipline yourself to sit down on a Monday, Sunday, Friday, whatever day of the week, doesn't matter, for 3 hours and block out 3 hours of your week for content creation. Within those 3 hours, you can write a blog post, you can schedule your post for the week, you can do whatever the fuck you want to do, but just be disciplined with it and do it consistently, because it's the only way it's going to work. How many of you preach to your clients every single week that consistency is the thing that matters most in fitness? It's the same with your business. It's consistency that counts. So there you go. Does anyone have any more questions about anything?
Can I ask, if you wanted to target like specific audiences, like do you have like a specific format that you follow? Like,
Really good question.
like one of the questions that I had was like dying social medias, so like Facebook would be like thrown out there as like one. So like, but if you wanted, like a lot of mammies on Facebook, so like
Yeah.
post there. But like, if you wanted to reach younger audiences, like then you'd like go to like whatever's hot, like TikTok and Instagram. So like, do you have like a specific layout for being like, right, I'm not posting Facebook, it's not going to be like me pumping my guns like the mammies on Facebook.
Love
but,
this
like,
question.
But like, if I'm on TikTok or Instagram, like if I want to get young lads or whatever, I'm going to be like, you know, like,
Yeah.
lifting heavy weight.
Exactly. You've hit the nail on the head. So it is about creating content for the platform that you're on. So if you're posting on, for example, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube, obviously you can't just do one post and show it on all those platforms. They're all going to be different. So like you said, there are different demographics on every platform, and you need to make sure that your content is right for the demographic on each platform. So if you're on Instagram, take your top off. Absolutely do it. The lads will go for it, the girls will go for it, the younger people will go mad for it, and they're going to love it. If you're on Facebook and you're speaking to the mammies on there, maybe put your top back on and maybe speak a little bit more politely and don't swear. If you're on LinkedIn, obviously you want to be really professional. So, you know, you probably don't need LinkedIn unless you're looking for corporate clients. Because to be honest, a PT just talking about protein powder on LinkedIn isn't going to be received well. People are like, that's not what we're here for. But if you are working with corporate clients, then absolutely go for it. If you're on TikTok, don't just take your top off, take all your clothes off, do a dance, and the kids will love that as well. So it is about, and obviously then on Twitter, you're kind of forced to create content specifically for that platform, because the only thing you can do on Twitter is a really short, less than 150 characters. So like a witty one-line sentence, that's all that's really going to work there. So yeah, you're dead right. You need to kind of create content for the different channels. And like, it is sometimes as simple, like with Facebook and Instagram, they're not hugely dissimilar. So all it might be is put the same post on Facebook and Instagram, but like if you have save this post on Instagram, take that off on Facebook because you can't save posts on Facebook, that kind of thing. So yeah, that's a really, really good question and really important as well.
And did you say like post your tweets to Instagram, that does well?
Yeah, I generally find that does really well. Now, obviously, it's only going to do well if the tweet is really funny, or like really kind of people are like, yeah, that's so fucking true. But if it's just like gonna flop, you know, if it's just a sentence that's not very funny or doesn't really hit home, it won't. But generally, we find for one brand that I used to work with, there were two types of videos or two types of posts that always went viral. One was a really funny tweet, and the other was a really, really decadent recipe video. So like a really quick 15 seconds, but like filth, like complete, like don't be posting this because you're PTs. But you know what I mean, like where it's really decadent and really good. But yeah, so I would literally, what you guys all need to do is just go and try everything. Try TikTok videos. The cool thing about TikTok is that even if it's not where your customer is, if you have time to play with it a little bit, the skills that you'll learn on TikTok, creating TikTok videos, transfer to Reels. And Reels is what's really hot on Instagram right now. And you can also save your TikTok videos and share them to Reels as well, so it kind of saves time. But it is true that what's trending on TikTok will eventually come to Instagram. And whatever's trending on the hottest new platforms will always end up coming. Like Instagram will always have their own version of everything. So like Snapchat was the cool thing for a while, so Instagram brought out its own version of like stories, because Snapchat stories is what was really doing well for that platform. You know, so everything that's doing well on other platforms will eventually come back to the main ones, which are Instagram and Facebook. And it is true that Facebook is a little bit dying in that, like, probably the demographic of like 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, they're not really on there anymore. The older demographics 100% are. So if you're targeting people's mums, definitely don't ignore Facebook. It is important. But it is another reason why, if you can, if you've nailed your platform that you're most kind of comfortable on and your clients are most active on, do try and get on something else, especially email. Because if that platform was gone in the morning, you'd be fucked. So you want to have a backup plan. You want to have an audience somewhere else, so that if Instagram was gone when you woke up tomorrow, you wouldn't suddenly have lost your entire audience and all of your prospective clients. So do try and kind of, email is probably your safest bet, because you should be doing that anyway as well. But yeah, really, really good question. Anyone else have any questions? You all gonna go join TikTok now? Yeah. Here's just some brands that I think are great. Obviously, you guys have probably all heard of Avonmore protein milk. So they're obviously in there, and actually one of the products is their new Pro Oats. So that only launched yesterday. It's actually not in most of the shops yet. So basically what that is it's just protein milk as it always has been, but it has 23 grams of gluten-free oats in there. So for a lot of you guys, like, protein milk is great, has in and around the same amount of protein as it has carbs. But for most of you guys, if you're training, you're going to want to be having probably double the amount of carbs as you are protein after a workout. So for me, when I have protein milk after I train, I always have to have like a banana or a packet of rice cakes with it. Whereas with this, you've got like 23 grams of oats, so it's not even that much. And they're gluten-free oats as well, so it's really, really cool. But it's brand new, so make sure to, like, if you try it, if you like it, make sure to tag them as well in your stories and stuff. They'll really appreciate that. Dan, who was in earlier dropping in the samples, I don't know if you guys have met him, but he's a sweetheart. And protein milk are really, like, they only speak to Ireland. And the people they care about most are you guys. It's PTs. That's who they want to speak to. So they've done loads of collabs with PTs in the past. They're always looking to do more. So the more you guys support them and kind of tag them, they're just really, really keen to support you back in any way they can. So that's protein milk. And then some of the other brands. So these are all real. I'm going to put my PT hat on now. From a protein bar standpoint, if I was speaking to my clients, obviously, when you work with new clients and they're Gen Pop and they're not really into their training, when you tell them how much protein they should be eating, most of them are like, fucking, like, how do I do that? They struggle to hit their protein targets. And a lot of them will look to like fulfill bars and stuff to try and meet those protein targets. But I'm sure you guys already all know that most of those protein bars are a bit shit. Like, the protein is not good quality in them. So these are kind of like the original Quest bar in taste. So maybe a Gen Pop client would be like, that doesn't taste like a Mars bar. But it's grass-fed whey is the protein in them, so it's a really high-quality whey, and it's a really high-quality protein. So for me, the reason I wanted to like bring these brands to all your guys' attention is because I think they're class and like they're not known by enough people yet. So I wanted to help them get the word out. These are really good. Like, they're Irish. They also have like a sustainability aspect with their packaging and stuff. But just in terms of when you're speaking to clients and they're looking for protein bars, I wouldn't touch anything except for this one, just because of the quality of the protein in it. Protein milk, I don't think any of you guys, like, I'm so surprised how few of the people in the room I actually know. I thought I'd know everyone here because I know so many of the FICA PTs. But if any one of you do follow me on Instagram, I don't think any of you do, you'll know I'm obsessed with protein milk. I drink a litre of it a day. I fucking love it. And I also am obsessed with these. I have 2 packs of these a day. They are like crack. They're so addictive. They're salt and vinegar flavoured. And again, Irish, really, really good. And a really handy hit for your fats during the day. They're really nice. And then this is also an Irish brand called Supernature. And I don't know, for me, like, I used to compete in bodybuilding, and like all I cared about was my macros and my calories and aesthetics, and I didn't really care about health. now I kind of come through a journey where I really do care about like the actual ingredients of things and my health as well as how shredded my abs are. But these are really good. So this is also an Irish company, and it basically was a mom whose daughter was one of those people that's allergic to everything and couldn't eat anything, and the mom was making snacks for her, really cute. And they basically turned it into a company. So these only have like 4 ingredients in them, so they're really, really clean and really nice. And then obviously Nocco, just a bit of a caffeine hit for you guys, but if you take pre-workout or even if you don't, it's got like 180 milligrams of caffeine, so really handy. But it's also got BCAAs, so they're just really handy to take before you train. So yeah, just wanted to give the brands a shout out because it's obviously so good of them all to provide the treats for the goodie bags. And I wanted to let you guys know that that's not just for the sake of giving you free shit, it's also because I actually think these are really good products and I love to see you guys try them and hopefully you guys will really enjoy them. And if you do like them, please do tag the brands because it'll mean the world to them, honestly. So yeah, if no one has any more questions, then I guess we are done.
Did you get a lot of questions on who gets sponsored?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we run, for example, we run Protein Milk's Instagram, and we're pretty much inundated with people looking to be sponsored. But they actually, to be completely honest, the guys in Protein Milk, like, if someone is looking for some protein milk for an event, 8 times out of 10 they're going to say yes, and they're going to rock up to your event and give you free samples. But in terms of like, can I be an ambassador? They don't choose ambassadors like Gymshark and MyProtein do. They only work with like, I don't know, GAA players, and like they only work with kind of people who are like on a sports team or whatever. But yeah, we get a lot of this for sure. Also, if you are getting a website built, make sure that you go for the trading online voucher. So it's basically it's from the local enterprise office, and it will pay during the pandemic they were paying 90% of your website fee for you. So if you were getting a website and it cost you $2,000, they were paying 90% of that. You'd only have to pay 10%. Now, since the pandemic, they've cut it back to what it always was, which I think is 50%. So that's still like a $2,000 website is going to cost you $1,000. That's still really handy. So that's just a useful one to know, even if it's not from us, if you're getting a website built, or if you're getting like social media marketing advice or anything to do with digital marketing. You can apply for that voucher, and everyone who applies gets it. Like, all you have to do is attend their seminar. You can have it on in the background while you're watching TV, and yeah, you'll get it.